What's up, YouTube? It's JackalGoldKick, and I'm here with Kadeem theking.
What it do, YouTube? It's your boy Kadeem theking, and today, me and the homie Jackal Gold Kick, we got this brand new top 10 favorite video games of all time.
This will be a collaboration video between me and Kadeem theking, telling you our top 10 favorite video games.
Give us at least a top 3 in the comments or something, man. But let's get into it without further ado.
My number 10 choice is going to be Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I'm not hardcore into superhero stuff, but I love Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I think it's a really good game. I think it's the best superhero game and my favorite superhero game. It's got a really good story. It's got a great cast of characters. It's got so many villains in it. There's a lot of cool areas and set pieces in this game. Like my favorite area from this game, and it's just one of the coolest areas because you don't see it much in superhero games, is I think it's called Murderland, or no, it's called Murder World. It's like a circus you go to and you fight like clowns in a superhero game, and it's just so unique and different because you don't really see superhero stuff associated with clowns, and I love that area. It's a fun area. But yeah, I love Marvel Ultimate Alliance. It has a ton of characters. You can play as Spider-Man, Wolverine, The Thing, Captain America, Blade, Deadpool, Ghost Rider, Moon Knight, Doctor Strange, etc. You can play as so many heroes in this game. They almost have everybody in this game. And then they also had DLC with like Doctor Doom and stuff. I don't have that edition, but those are some more characters you can get. There's a ton of villains in this game. You have Doctor Doom, you have Loki, you have Ultron, even Galactus is in here. You have MODOK. So you have tons of iconic villains, tons of iconic superheroes to play as. I really like the gameplay of this game. It's basically a action RPG. You control 4 people, so you can have up to 4 heroes in your team. And it's a really fun game, and it's a really good superhero game with a good roster, good villains. What was also cool about this game is all the superheroes have costumes. They all have unlockable outfits, so most of them have like 3 to 4 unlockable costumes. They all have their own powers. They can all be leveled up. Now, the reason I like this game is because it's the only good Blade game, because since Blade is in this game and it's a good game, I consider it like the only good Blade game, because Blade's games were not that good from what I saw. I haven't played them, but they look like shit. But Blade's in this game, which is pretty cool. And usually the people I would play as in Marvel Ultimate Alliance, I would usually play as like Blade, Deadpool, Ghost Rider, and The Thing. I would play as some others as well, but those are the main 4 I used. It was just a really awesome classic superhero game, a really good action RPG. It was cool gameplay. I liked the top-down view camera, all the costumes you can unlock. They all had powers. I liked all the settings you went to, like you had the Omega Base, you had Doctor Doom's castle, you could go to Murder World, which is my favorite area with the clowns. There's Atlantis where you go underwater. There's the area with Galactus where you help Silver Surfer fight him. You know, there's just a lot of variety with the locations, and there's tons of villains and there's tons of superheroes. Like another cool area in the game is Mephisto's lair, where you go to hell and you fight demons and you fight, you know, Blackheart and you fight Mephisto, and you have to choose between, I think, like Jean Grey or Nightcrawler, and that was a cool setting. There was also this cool stuff where you could like pick up these CDs where it's like flashback episodes, or you could play as like Blade, or you could play as like Doctor Strange on certain missions they went on. It is such a damn good game. I think it's the best superhero game ever made, and it's my favorite one. I'm not hardcore into superhero stuff, but I absolutely love this game. It is a fun, awesome action RPG game with a really good story, great setting, great set pieces, great variety of areas, a ton of great villains in it, so many cool superheroes in it to play as, the ability to play as 4 at a time and have them in a team, the fun action RPG gameplay, the really good music, just a fun game. It's just the ultimate perfect superhero game. Specifically for Marvel, it's almost like a greatest hits of Marvel. Really well put together, awesome areas like Murder World. It's just an amazing video game, and I absolutely love it. And Marvel Ultimate Alliance is definitely a classic, and it's a really good video game, and it's definitely a gem, and it's definitely one of my favorites. It's one hell of a damn game.
Number 10 is the Warriors, man. I can remember that game, you know, when it first dropped, and me and my cousins got it, you know. Because the game at that time was only like, at that time, new games was like $40, I think. $45, some shit around there. And obviously, shit, because I'm only 7, my motherfucking allowance is $25. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, shit, me and my cousin, we could just split this shit. You know, anyway, we got the game, and, you know, we bought it and split it down the middle, so it was both of our games. But We had so much fun on that damn game, man. I can remember the cursing, and I can remember you was fighting all types of stuff, man. The funny thing about it, my mama never knew that game was like a game like that. You feel me? Because back in the day, I couldn't play GTA and all that shit. Play it on the PlayStation 2 if you ever get the chance to, man.
So at number 9, The Evil Within. Now, I really love The Evil Within. I think this is a great survival horror game. This is actually my favorite video game of the 8th generation. I really like The Evil Within. I loved Resident Evil 4, and this game's right up my alley, because the guy who made Resident Evil 4, Shinji Mikami, he made The Evil Within. I bought it on 360. I enjoyed it, got it for PS4, enjoyed it. I like the setting in this game where you kind of go through a multitude of areas where you go to a hospital or a village or a city, or like a subway tunnel. I like the characters in here. Sebastian's a pretty cool character. Joseph's a pretty cool character. Kidman's a cool character. Ruvik is a really cool villain. You have interesting characters in here. I really like the gameplay. It's that over-the-shoulder survival horror gameplay. It's a challenging game. I like the tone and gritty feel of this game. It has like kind of this slasher, just super bloody Saw movie aesthetic going for it, and it's really cool, and it's just a dark, gritty, serious, edgy, just bloody in your face kind of game. You have cool guns in there like the revolver, the agony crossbow, and the bolts you can make for it. You got the cool shotgun, you got the sniper rifle. The sound effects on the guns are really good and satisfying to use. I like the concept of using green gel and using that to upgrade your stuff on the chair. That's pretty cool. The enemy designs are really cool. The haunted, the main enemies you fight, pretty much zombies. I like the design of them. Some of them have like these glowing white eyes. Some of them might have nails in their head or an axe in their head. Some of them have cool designs. I love the ones that wear like a suit and they have a purge looking white mask. They look really fucking cool. The enemy design is top notch. The keeper looks really cool with like this safe on his head, this box head he has. The keeper looks cool as shit. I like the keeper a lot. He looks cool. Laura looks cool. The designs of the enemy are really cool. The enemies have really cool designs. I liked the story. It was complex, but it was an interesting story because it was like you trapped in this person's brain and seeing all the crazy shit going on. It was very challenging. It was scary at times too. Like I thought the keeper was scary fighting him because you would kill him and then he would constantly come back and you don't know where he was showing up. I like how the screen had sort of this effect and he would constantly come back through the box heads on the ground. I thought the chapter with Ruvik where you go to his mansion and he constantly stalks you and the blue light filter comes up and there's like music that plays. I thought it was creepy when he stalked you. I found that to be pretty damn scary. So I think the game has its good amount of scary moments and I just really enjoyed The Evil Within. It was a solid game and a good survival horror game with an interesting story, really cool cast of characters, really fun survival horror gameplay with really cool guns, satisfying guns to use, really cool enemy designs, really cool set pieces, really cool areas. Just a fun game to play, a really good challenging game, really good survival horror game, had a really good tone and aesthetic going for it, and it was just a solid title. I like the voice acting in it. The voice acting gets a lot of shit, but I like the voice acting in it. It has kind of that blue collar feel. I like the voice acting of it. I think it's pretty damn good. I liked the dub of it and the voice acting they had. That was good. Just a satisfying game to play. Just a really good survival horror game. Really challenging as well. I like the story. I like the areas. I like the set pieces. I like the setting. Underrated game. It's criminally underrated, and I think it gets way too much hate. Love The Evil Within.
And number 9, bruh, of all time, 007, The World Is Not Enough. Now, I know a lot of y'all probably seen that movie. Some of y'all probably did, some of y'all probably didn't. But I actually have never saw the movie. I played the game, though. And The World Is Not Ours is one of the coldest games I ever played. One of the funnest story modes ever. It's like a first-person shooter game. If you ever get the chance, get you a Nintendo 64, man, and play that game. And make sure you have a memory card, too, because, doing some rough fucking days, because I did not have no memory card. Yeah.
So at number 8 is going to be Left 4 Dead 1. Now, this is one of the only games I don't own on this list that I can't show. I don't know what happened to it. I think I traded it in or something, but my number 8 choice is Left 4 Dead. I remember when I first saw the trailer for Left 4 Dead 1, I was blown away by it. Left 4 Dead 1, in my opinion, has like the best video game trailer I ever saw. The trailer is amazing. I love the setup where you get introduced to the characters, you see them, their dialogue, and the zombies coming in and the special effect they introduce. The trailer for that game game is just amazing, and it sold me on Left 4 Dead, and I couldn't wait to play it. I remember when I first played Left 4 Dead, I was kind of scared of it, but I was intrigued at the same time. It was just such an experience of a game, and I loved Left 4 Dead 1. It was a great game, and it was a very original and unique zombie game because it brought something new to the table. It was something we haven't seen before. It was a really good first-person shooter zombie game with really cool, interesting characters, good setting and areas. You had cool special effects like the hunter that would pounce on you, the smoker that would grab you with his tongue, the witch where if you mess with it, it would fuck you up hard to kill it, and then tank, it was this big ass thing that came after you. You had the boomer who, if he puked on you, it would alert all the zombies. You could just shoot him and kill him right away, but if the puke would get on you, it would alert all the zombies. There wasn't really a story to the game, and it just had this like very simplified approach where you just jumped in, you went through these levels of each stage and killed zombies and tried to survive and escape, and it was really good and really well put together, and it was just a solid title, and I really liked the characters in it. Bill was a cool old war veteran, Francis was this badass biker, Zoe was this survivor cool woman, and Lewis was a pretty cool character as well. And I think he's like memed often or talked about often for the whole pills thing, and the game just had a lot of unique things going for it. I had a really good cast of characters, really good first person shooter fun zombie game with good characters, a good setting. I had a good horror tone with a lot of the areas being set at night. I had a lot of personality and uniqueness to it with like the life bars and the HUD. You heal characters with a med kit. It was a good game either in single player or co-op. It had bots, but I don't remember it being much of a problem in single player where the AI was really bad. It's one of the best video games ever. It's one of the best zombie games ever, and it's just an iconic video game, and it's an awesome fucking game. Love Left 4 Dead 1.
Number 8 would have to be NBA Live 08. A lot of y'all are like, what the fuck? I've never even heard of Live. It's been gone so damn long. Well, NBA Live was actually the premier game before 2K became what it became. You know what I'm saying? And NBA Live 08 was the last really hoorah for the live series. But I can remember that game just having so much fun. But one person I hated in that motherfucking game was Ray Allen. That dude was Steph Curry because he could not miss. If you time his jump shot right, that boy that's in. I don't give a fuck if you got a hand in his face, nothing. And y'all know who my favorite player to play with at the time. My favorite team was the Lakers. Even though my cousin, she liked Kobe too, and it was like, I ain't playing if I can't get Kobe, so I would have to pick like Carmelo or some fucking body. Feel me? So number 8 is NBA Live 08.
So my number 7 choice would be Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. I think it's just the peak of the GTA series. I think it's when GTA was at its best. I've played GTA 3, remember liking it. Remember liking Vice City. I wasn't too big on GTA 4. I liked GTA 5 at one point, but it doesn't hold up anymore. But to me, this is the best one in the series. It's just a really good game, and I grew up playing this game, and I absolutely love GTA San Andreas. Really good characters like CJ, Big Smoke, Sweet. Really good villains like Tenpenny, who's voiced by people like Samuel Jackson. You even have Sean Penn's brother in there voicing one of the cops. It's a really good setting. You have Los Santos, the city itself. You have the other 2 cities, and you have a country. So you have a huge setting to go through. You have a really good soundtrack of old school rap music, old school rock music, old school country music. So you have a really good soundtrack. So much to do. You can make CJ muscular by going to the gym, or you can make him fat by eating too much of the restaurant, or you can just have him be skinny. And sometimes if you were too fat, it would affect certain missions. You could also build up a ton of stats where you could swim and build up your shooting. There was other stuff in the game, like you could take over gang territories. So you had a lot of side stuff to do, tons of missions to do. Very fun game, and I love GTA San Andreas. It's a classic video game, definitely one of my favorites. I think it's the peak of the GTA series just because it did so much with the formula, had so much going for it with what you could do with CJ, the stats, the story, the setting of the areas. I just remember playing it growing up and loving it a lot. Just definitely left the impact on me, and it's just one hell of a fucking game. So yeah, love GTA San Andreas.
Number 7 would have to be WWE Smackdown VS Raw 2011. Simply just because the graphics at that time was monumental. You know what I'm saying? For the time, because it was the first time, I believe, first or second time it was on a PlayStation 3. The game mode that really got me into that game was obviously the streak mode, man. When you fought Undertaker and you beat him, you actually felt like you accomplished some shit. Cause back then, you know, our games was actually good back then. Instead of these bullshit games y'all drop 9, then they be like, okay, we gotta remaster some shit because don't nobody like the new shit we dropping. But anyway, that's the number 7 WWE Smackdown vs. Raw 2011. You should play it if you ever get the chance on a PlayStation 3. Fuck Xbox. All right.
My number 6 choice, Def Jam Fight for New York. Def Jam Fight for New York is a classic video game and definitely another one of my favorites. I absolutely love Def Jam Fight for New York. This is one hell of a video game. It basically combines like fighting games with hip hop. It's like a fighting game with rappers in it, as well as some celebrities like, you know, freaking Danny Trejo and stuff. And you have tons of rappers in Def Jam Fight for New York. You have people like Snoop Dogg, Method Man, Sean Paul, Slick Rick, Busta Rhymes, Dub C, Exhibit, Redman, Freeway, Ludacris, Ghostface Killah. You have Mac 10, you have Sticky Fingers, Warren G, you have Nori, you have David Banner, you have Havoc, you have, you know, Eric Sermon, you have Joe Budden, you have Ice-T, you have Henry Rollins, you have Omar Epps. You just have so many not only rappers in this game, but you have so many like celebrities like, you know, Danny Trejo and Omar Epps and stuff like that. It's just a really damn good game, and I love Def Jam Fight for New York. I like Def Jam Vendetta as well, but this will probably be my favorite one and one I prefer. I absolutely love Def Jam Fight for New York. I think it's a classic game, and you know, I'm not really big on fighting games, but this is one I like because it's very basic. There's not no combos or anything like that you have to remember. It's just a basic fighting game. You know, the gameplay is attacking, grabbing, and then everyone has a blazing move, or they do like a special move when they get a certain bar up. This had a really cool story mode where you could create your own custom character with your own fighting style and work your way up and interact with all the characters like D-Mob and Method Man and all the rappers and stuff, all the celebrities, and you go from these stages and you fight all these people and you work your way up. You know, you're working with D-Mob and his crew. The villain is Snoop Dogg, and ironically, I don't know if you could see it, Snoop Dogg's clothes in Def Jam Fight for New York is like just like his clothes from the Bones movie. I don't know if this came out before or after Bones, but it's kind of a funny coincidence that Snoop Dogg in this game looks just like how he did in the Bones movie. So I don't know if that was done on purpose or not, but that's pretty cool. But yeah, really cool cutscenes, cool moments in the game, like when Snoop Dogg, or not Snoop Dogg, but when Sticky Fingers kidnaps someone you know, he like puts flames around you and says, now it's just you and me, and you fight him. And then there's also like a good free mode as well, where you can play as all the rappers. A lot of the characters I used to use in this game the most, I would use like Scarface the most because he was so overpowered in this game, because he had like this super punch you could do on people, and he was a beast in this game. Like, he was one of the best in this game. He was so overpowered. I used him all the time because he just had that super punch. The game has a really good soundtrack as well. It's like a mix of some New York rap, some old school New York rap. You have some other types of hip hop in there as well. Like, you have a song from, you know, you have music from like Method Man, Busta Rhymes, Big Daddy Kane, and then other people like Comp and stuff. So the soundtrack to this is really good. I will say I do prefer the soundtrack of Def Jam Vendetta a little bit more because it has a little bit more, I don't know, it just has more music in it. I like it more. West Coast hip hop's in there, but I still like the soundtrack of this. Like, you have dope songs like See About You with David Banner and Bone Crusher. That's a really good song. Man Up by Sticky Fingers. That's a good song. So I love Def Jam Fight for New York. It's a classic video game, really good soundtrack, good cast of characters, fun game, really good story mode with custom character, ton of cool stages, tons of cool rappers that play. It's just a cool combination of hip hop, video games, and fighting games, and it's just a goddamn classic. And I love Def Jam Fight for New York.
Number 6 would have to be Grand Theft Auto 3, because Grand Theft Auto 3 was the first time I actually knew what the fuck I was playing. You feel me? I'm gonna get into it later with the other game. That's 5. But 3 was so fun, man. It was the first. I honestly, y'all, I was not actually good at San Andreas. I mean, not San Andreas, but Grand Theft Auto 3. I would just start out, you know, just shooting the cops, putting in cheat codes and shit. I didn't even really like to do the missions and shit. Up until the next game we're about to get into.
My number 5 choice is going to be Dynasty Warriors 4, and I'll include this as well since it's included with it, the Extreme Legends. So, yeah. My number 5 choice is Dynasty Warriors 4. Dynasty Warriors 4 is an absolutely great game. It's a classic game. I think it's easily the best game in the Dynasty Warriors series. I think it's the best one in the franchise. Definitely my favorite one. definitely one of my favorite games. I absolutely love Dynasty Warriors 4. I like the tone of the game. It has this very dark, serious, gritty tone. It's like a T-rated game, but it could almost pass for an M-rated game because it has a really good, serious, gritty tone going for it. It has really good songs. I like the soundtrack to it, just really good heavy rock songs, and the soundtrack in this game is great. I love the design of the characters. A lot of the characters have great weapons. Yeah, the story modes are pretty cool, where it's like kingdom based, where you just play as Wei Wuxu, etc., and all the characters are in there. It had new additions compared to 3 that was pretty cool. Like you had the new characters like Zhou Tai, Cao Ren, Yu Ying and stuff like that. I just love Dynasty Warriors 4, and it's a classic game. And I remember playing this a lot growing up, playing it in co-op, playing the versus mode. It's just a classic video game, including its Extreme Legends expansion that makes it even better. Dynasty Warriors 4 is just one hell of a game, and I absolutely love Dynasty Warriors 4. It's just an amazing game and just a classic video game overall, and I absolutely love it. I like the weapon system where you just level your weapons up. That's a pretty good experience. I like that. It's very convenient. You just level your weapons up, and that's how you do it. I like that. It's better than just finding weapons. You have items you can use, bodyguards you have. Very challenging game. The peons can backstab you like crazy. The look of the health bars are really cool. I like the English dub in this game. This has my favorite English dub in the Warriors games. I like a lot of the voice actors they had. I like the voice actors for Liu Bei and Zhang Fei. I prefer the voice actor they had for Lu Bu in this one. Jamison Price does a great job in the later games, but I prefer the Lu Bu voice in this one. He's really damn cool. So the English dub in this game is really good as well. Some of it's pretty funny, like Sun John's is pretty funny. Peng Tong's is hilarious, especially when he gets hit. Sounds like a redneck voice Peng Tong. It's absolutely hilarious. I just love the English dub in here because it's like a mix of good voice acting, but also some funny shit, and it's just memorable. And the English dub is just great, and it really adds to this experience. Really cool stages like, Chi Bi, Cheng Ban, Wu Zhang Plains, Hu Lao Gate, and this game had some cool stuff going for it. Like when you fought Yellow Turbans and Dong Zhuo and his army, you had you had more than one stage, whereas the new games is just one stage each. And this one, you get to have 2 stages with Dong Zhuo and 3 stages with Yellow Turbans. It's a really cool thing. I like how you can level weapons up. I like the designs of the peons and how they look, and I like the designs of all the characters. They look like real people. They don't look anime-ish. That's one of the things I don't like about new Warriors games. All the characters and all the games look anime-ish. I like how this game, has a serious, gritty tone, not only from the art style and graphic style, but the music itself and the way the characters look and the way they're designed just looks very serious, and I like that. Just good hack and slash gameplay, really challenging, and it's just one hell of a game, one of my favorite games, and I think it's the best Warriors game in the series. Absolutely love Dynasty Warriors 4. It's one hell of a fucking video game.
Number 5, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. This game was so monumental, bro, in my life at the time when it dropped, bro, that this game had a run for probably 5 to 10 years. I bullshit you not, bro. Believe it or not. This game had a long run and still has a cult following to this day. And it was a better version of all the GTAs. And they finally hit big with Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Obviously, you had Grove Street, you had, all your different gangs and stuff, the Latins, the Latinos, the black, all of them, you feel me? And that was dope to me. I like the fact that you could get a haircut, and it was actually like you was in a real life neighborhood, you feel me? In Cali, obviously, but yeah, number 5 is San Andreas. Play it if you have not played that shit before, because, bruh, I promise you, you will have the time of your life, bruh. Time will go so damn quick, you ain't gonna even know. You're gonna be on that motherfucker just playing like, damn, it's 3 hours then passed already? Damn, I should have been in school by now.
So my number 4 choice is going to be Gears of War 3. Now, I like the Gears of War series. It's a really good franchise. I think the first 3 Gears of War games are good. I'm not too big on the other ones. I think Judgment's disappointing. 4 is 5 is I think the first 3 Gears of War games are the best. Now, this is kind of an unpopular choice because when most people talk about their favorite Gears of War game or the best one in the series, they usually pick like part 2 or part 1. But for me, Gears of War 3 is my favorite in the series, and it's one of my favorite video games of all time because not only is it a great sequel in a series that I already liked, it's also not just because I like this game, but just the experience with it. Because with Gears of War 1 and 2, I really liked those games, but back when I played Gears of War 1 and 2, I didn't have Xbox Live, I didn't have internet, so I didn't get to experience Gears of War 1 and 2 in the Xbox Live days or the internet days. I didn't get to experience that, you know? So when Gears of War 3 came out, it was around the time that I really start to got internet and I got to get Xbox Live, and I was able to experience Gears of War 3 in its Xbox Live and internet days. So not only did I like the game, but I got to have that Xbox Live experience for the first time around the time this game came out and got to really get the feel of it. And I didn't get that with Gears 2 and 1. So that's what makes Gears of War 3 special to me, because not only is it a good game and a good entry in the franchise, but also that experience of being able to experience it online and play it on Xbox Live. Because of Gears of War 3, I've met a lot of good friends through this game. Just because of all the friends I've made through this game, the memories I have with it, the experience with it, it just can't be matched with 2 and 1. Like 2 and 1 are good games, or what I meant to say is I like 1 and 2, but they just can't match to this one and the experience from online and all the friends I've met. Like because of playing Gears of War 3 online, I've met so many, like, I don't know a lot of these people in real life, but I met so many cool people through Xbox Live because of Gears of War 3. Like, I've made so many friends through Xbox Live that are really cool people, and shout out to all of them, by the way, because of Gears of War 3, because of playing it and meeting people online. I met so many cool people. So not only was Gears of War 3 one of my first experiences on Xbox Live and on internet, but I made so many cool friends and met so many cool people online. Another interesting fact about Gears of War 3 is technically the first YouTube video I ever did was through this game. I'm not really in the video, like you can't hear me, you don't see me. It was like an online match I played with someone. They recorded it on their channel. I'm in a game lobby with them. You can't hear me talk or anything, but you can see me kind of in the gameplay. So that's technically the first YouTube video I did in 2012. So that's another interesting thing to say. Gears of War 3 is just a great game. It has a really good story, a really good cast of characters like, Marcus, Dom, Jace, Hoffman, good villain like Mira. I like the change up of the Lambit. It's different than the other two where you have to deal with the Lambit as well as the Locust. I like kind of the stranded end of the world feel it has, where the way the game looks with the setting and how some of the characters look, where they're missing certain armor pieces. I like the design of the cog in this one. Like I said, it has that stranded feel. You deal with the Lambit as well as the Locust. There's a lot of sad things that happen in this game. A lot of crazy character deaths. I won't spoil them, but there's two pretty big character deaths in this game that were pretty damn sad and just add to the game and add to the loss that, people can experience in fucking war. And it's just a great sequel to the series. And I think this ended the franchise perfectly. You didn't need any more Gears of War games. This ended it perfectly, in my opinion, because Adam Phoenix made the bomb, got rid of the Lambit, and got rid of the Locust. You did not need to make more games. And Gears of War 3 is just a great game. Really good story, fun third-person, over-the-shoulder shooter gameplay, really cool weapons like the Lancer, the Hammerburst, the sawed-off shotgun, the Retro Lancer. The Locusts are back, but this time they're on ground, and they have more of this, a Mad Max thing going for them because of what happened to their home in Gears of War 2. The versus is really good. The multiplayer is really good. The horde mode is great in this game, where you survive in 50 waves and you survive against locusts. You have so many characters to play as in the multiplayer and horde mode. You can play as Marcus, Dom, Baird, Cole, Hoffman, all the Carmines. The unlockables in this game are really cool, and they were done right. In the medals and ribbon system, where you have to play like, I think like 500, or you had to do a certain amount for a certain medal to get classic Marcus. And then you had to level up to a certain level to get other characters. I think if you beat the campaign, you get unarmored Marcus. You get to level 75, you get Anthony Carmine. You got to get something for the MPV medal to get Superstar Cole. So you had a lot of characters to choose as, and you had a ton of variations as well. Gears of War 3 also had a really cool expansion pack, an expansion campaign called Ram Shadow. I absolutely love Ram Shadow. Ram Shadow was amazing. Ram Shadow was a really good expansion campaign for Gears of War 3. I really liked it. You got to play as Michael Barrick, Kim, freaking Ty, and this new character named Alicia. It was like a prequel before Gears of War 1. You got to see more of Ty and Min Young Kim, and I loved Ram Shadow because it was a throwback. Michael Barrick was a badass character. He was just a rough, gritty, cool, alpha male character, cool design, cool cigar in his mouth he always had when you played as him. He had a really cool voice actor. He, I don't think Ron Perlman voiced him, but he almost kind of reminded me of Ron Perlman, like a mix of Ron Perlman and Hellboy. That's what Michael Barrett reminded me of, but he had a cool design. He was a badass main character. Michael Barrett, in my opinion, was like the only other Gears of War character that could match up to Marcus. I mean, Barrett is cool as well, but I don't know if I'd count him since he was already in these games by the time he got Judgment. But, you know, you look at Gears 4 and 5 with JD and Kate, they ain't shit compared to these characters. And to me, Michael Barrett and Ram Shadow is like the closest they ever got to having someone as good as Marcus and the, you know, original Delta Squad. Because I think the Zeta Squad and Ram Shadow were awesome. I love Michael Barrett. He's a badass character. So Ram Shadow was a really cool expansion. That was a really cool campaign. I liked how you were able to play as Ram and the Locust in some of the sections. That was pretty cool. I always thought it would have been cool if they did a spin-off series of Gears of War where you could play from the Locust perspective. I always thought that would be really cool, but yeah, I love Gears of War 3. It's a great game, one of my favorite games. You know, really good story mode, really good horde mode, good versus mode, tons of content, tons of characters you could play as. You know, it was a great ending to the series. You didn't need any more. I thought this tied things up perfectly. It was a good sequel. I like the threat of the Lambit. The new characters like Jace were pretty damn cool. You had cool moments in this game. Very emotional character deaths that really hit you. They were, you know, very sad. Ice-T was in this game. He voiced Griffin. He was a pretty cool side villain. I absolutely love Gears of War 3, and it's a fantastic game. And I also love Ram Shadow as well. This is an amazing fucking video game right here. Gears of War 3, amazing.
Number 4 would have to be, oh, this is getting dicey, WWF Shut Your Mouth. Now, a lot of y'all probably have never even heard of that damn game. But WWF Shut Your Mouth is one of the greatest games that WWF has ever released, man. And the roster was small compared to the other ones, you know, to the ones that came out later on. You feel me? And at that time, we didn't have DLC and all that stuff. So you had to create your own players and shit like that. But in this particular game, it set the foundation for the next game that I'm going to talk about. But WWF Shut Your Mouth was so fun. You had the I Quit match. I remember the I Quit match, y'all. That was so fun. You would pick up the mic for real. You could beat your opponent with it. You could be like, hey, say you quit. And then, you know, if they don't say they quit, obviously you keep going. But you could go backstage. You could go in different offices. It was just like, it was ahead of its time. WWF Shut Your Mouth.
So next on my list is going to be my number 3, which is Dead Rising, the first one. The first Dead Rising is one of the best video games ever made. Here's something interesting I have to say about Dead Rising 1. I actually did an original version of this video, where instead of this, it was actually Dead Rising 2. Now let me give you a story on this. So, Dead Rising 1 was the first one I played. I've always liked Dead Rising 1, but I never played it that much back in the day because it scared me too much as a kid, and I sucked at it. It was a very challenging game. I played Dead Rising 2 a lot more. That's the one I played a lot more than this one back in the day. Dead Rising 2 really got me into the series. I would play this one occasionally, but I could never handle it like that because it scared me too much, the age I was. But as time has went on, I would say I like Dead Rising 1 more, and I would say that, you know, I've grown to like this game and I've grown to prefer it. It has a really good Willamette Mall setting. I like the setting of this game. Willamette Mall is absolutely amazing. It's just a really cool setting. You have Wonderland Plaza, you have the tunnels, you have the leisure park itself, you have North Plaza, you have, you know, Wonderland Plaza, you have Entrance Plaza. The setting of this game is just put together so well, and it's so memorable, and I can remember it like the back of my hand. I love the setting in this game. It's a really cool mall, a bunch of cool shops like the gun shop, you know, the photo stores you could go to, the sporting stores you could go to, you know. It had a timer, which is very unique. Not many video games had a timer, and Dead Rising had a timer where you were on a strict timer and you had to get all the missions done before time ran out. And I liked that because it kept you on edge, it kept things tense, and it was challenging. So you had the timer, you have a really cool setting. The game has a really good soundtrack. Not only the music they produce, like the song that plays when you're going into town taking pictures, it really fits Frank West and this whole photojournalist thing. I like all the Psychopaths themes. Some of my favorites would probably be I love Cliff's theme. It really fits him. Reminds me of Marilyn Manson. Really good song. I love Kent's theme. Adam's theme is really good. Sean, the cult leader, his music is badass. It really fits him. I love the song that plays when you're transporting Isabella back to the safe house. It's really cool music, and it reminds me of like the old school Resident Evil games. And this was just one hell of a game. You know, it was not only a damn good video game, it was an original, unique game, and it brought so many new things to the table. And I'm going to come out and say it. I think this is the best zombie game ever made. In terms of zombie games, what's at the top of the chart? What's the king of zombie games? This one is. I think Dead Rising 1 is at the top of the chart. Dead Rising 1 is the king of all zombie games, and it's the best zombie game ever made. Being able to use anything and everything as a weapon, having it set in a mall, all the damn zombies on screen. The strict time limit, escorting survivors, fighting psychopaths, the main character being a photojournalist. Most of the time with zombie games and stuff like this is someone wanting to take the world over or a corporation that's evil. You know, the story itself was pretty cool as well, with Carlito wanting to get revenge for the government, like, did an experiment and zombies got released in Carlito's hometown and killed a lot of his family, and they try to cover it up. And Carlito gets revenge by unleashing a zombie outbreak in Willamette, Colorado. And I like this story. It's very interesting. And it's different, you know. It's not just a typical a villain wants to take the world over or they want to make zombies for this reason. No, it's someone that you understand why they're doing this. It's not justified what they're doing, but Carlito, you have sympathy for him because you understand why he's doing this. It's not justified, but you understand why he's doing it. It's just it's a different story. It's a different feel. You know, not too many games have someone that wants revenge and does it in this way. Most of the time with zombie games and stuff like this is someone wanting to take the world over or a corporation that's evil. This was a lot different, and I liked it. The story was really good. You had a lot of great characters in Dead Rising 1, like Frank West, Brad, Jesse, Otis, Carlito, Isabella, Brock, Kent. There were so many great characters in this game. Some of my favorites, I love Brad in this game. Brad is absolutely amazing. Brad is an awesome fucking character. He's a cool ass character. I love Isabella in this game. Isabella is a great character. I love her arc in this game where she starts as a villain and her and Frank don't see eye to eye. Well, not really see eye to eye, but you know, they're not really allies. And then as the game progresses, she becomes an ally of you and you work with her. And I just love the evolution of the story with Isabella and how she works with Frank. It's just amazing stuff. I love the mystery of the story and how you don't really know what's going on at first and it's slowly revealed to you. You know, I like the aesthetic of, you know, how the game has like this, it has a dark tone. A lot of people think Dead Rising is a wacky, goofy series. Now, yes, Dead Rising is a mix of, you know, goofy stuff and serious stuff. But specifically with this game, it's only goofy and silly if you choose it to be. I think Dead Rising gets miscommunicated too much for being like a goofy, wacky series. It's not a goofy, wacky series. Dead Rising 1 was a serious game with a serious tone, and it had a horror tone. Yeah, you could make it goofy in the gameplay, but you could play it straight, and it still was a serious game, you know? They went way too far with the goofy tone later on. And what's sad is, as much as I love Dead Rising 1, the franchise never got better than this. Dead Rising 2 is decent, but it's not better than this. And the later Dead Rising games just pale in comparison to this one, you know? And it just sucks because the Dead Rising series could have been so much better. And Capcom Japan and KG, they did such a great job with Dead Rising 1. The setting is really good. The characters are really good. The story is really good. All the zombies on screen, the zombie models itself are good. Some of the stuff that people don't like in this game, I actually don't mind and I could defend. Like some of the stuff that gets criticism in Dead Rising 1 is, you know, the bad survivor AI. I like the bad survivor AI in this game because, one, it's challenging and it makes it challenging to bring the survivors back, and two, it makes it rewarding to bring them back since their AI is so stupid and it's tense to get them back. You know, another thing that gets criticism is like the timer. I don't mind the timer. It's what makes the game unique. You know, if it didn't have a timer, it wouldn't be unique and it would be a boring game. Dead Rising 3, especially Dead Rising 4, are just zombie killing simulators. It's just all about killing zombies. And yeah, that is something you can do in this game, but it's more than that. It's also about managing your time, escorting survivors, defeating psychopaths, solving all the cases, getting it all done in a strict timer. It wasn't just about fucking killing zombies, and that's what happened in the damn franchise. It just became about killing zombies later on, which is bullshit. Another thing that gets criticism is the transceiver thing from Otis. I don't hate Otis, and I don't hate the transceiver. I like the transceiver. I think it's a cool way to get missions. A lot of people hated it because they would get called during like boss battles and stuff, but in my opinion, I think the reason that happens is those people were never answering Otis's calls to begin with. At least that's what I could tell. For my playthrough of Dead Rising 1, as long as I always answered Otis on time, I would rarely get Otis calls during boss battles. Like, I think one of the only boss battles I got an Otis call in was the Kim mission, and it really didn't bother me. It was actually kind of challenging and tense because there's a trophy and an achievement in this game where you have to answer all of Otis's calls, and if any of them get messed up, you can't get it. And it was very tense and challenging on Kent's mission where you're fighting Kent, and Otis is calling you about Kendall, and you have to make sure Kent doesn't fuck your call up. It was very challenging and tense, but I liked it, you know? So I like those aspects of the game. And Dead Rising 1 is just a great, fun video game. I absolutely love Dead Rising 1, one of my favorite games of all time, and it's my favorite in the Dead Rising franchise. And I just think this is the best in the series because it did everything the best. It was challenging and it had a horror tone. And I just think the Dead Rising series has never been able to dethrone this one. This is a 2006 game and it still kicks ass. A lot of those other shitty zombie games like Back for Fucking Blood and Days Gone, they need to take notes from games like this. I'm not saying copy this game, but try to be original and innovative. Games like this and Left 4 Dead were iconic zombie games because they were good on their own and they brought something new to the table. I will always love Dead Rising 1 and I've grown to really appreciate this game. It's a motherfucking classic.
Now, number 3, my personal favorite WWE game of all time, no doubt about it. Here Comes the Pain. Bro, if you remember the game with Brock Lesnar on it, if y'all don't remember that shit, bro, y'all probably don't because that shit came out in like 04, 03, 04. But Brock was on the cover, and I remember it was his rookie year in the WWE. And everybody wanted to pick that dude, and he was so fucking overpowered, bro. I used to hate having to go against that dude, bro. Nonetheless, you know, WWE Here Comes the Pain is probably the greatest WWE game ever released. And that's some shit to say because honorable mention to WWE 2008, Smackdown vs. Raw 2008, honorable mention to WWE 2007, honorable mention to WWE 2006, and honorable mention to WWE Smackdown vs. Raw 2005. If you've never played that one, you wouldn't understand any of the other games, bro. And that's honestly, because that story mode was amazing for the time, bro. I remember Tori Wilson, bro. Oh, I can't talk about it, but y'all gotta play the damn game or at least look it up on YouTube. Tori Wilson was, whoo, she was my baby boy, I tell you. But that's number, number 3?
So at number 2, we have Resident Evil 4. When this game came out and when I first played Resident Evil 4, I was a kid. This was my first Resident Evil game. And I remember first playing this game on the PlayStation 2, Resident Evil 4. I was just blown away by it. It was one hell of a game. It really introduced me to horror. It really introduced me to Resident Evil. And it was just a really fun, over-the-shoulder, third-person shooter, a good survival horror game. It really had an impact on the gaming industry and changed a lot of the way games were made. It had such an impact on the survival horror genre. It was like lightning in a bottle. It was the reason for a lot of stuff like DMC, Dead Space, The Evil Within. It had a pretty good story of, simple story that I liked of rescuing the president's daughter. You had really cool characters in this game like Leon S. Kennedy. Sadler was a really cool villain. Salazar was a cool but funny villain. Big Cheese was a pretty cool villain. I really liked Krauser in this game. He was a badass motherfucker, a cool rival to Leon. I wish they would have did more with him and had him in more games. Lewis was a really cool character. He was very interesting. He had a lot to do with the stuff in this game, especially the notes you read later on. It was really sad when they killed him off. That was a sad scene. Definitely always affected me. The way it affects Leon and the way he dies is just fucked up. Luis is a really cool character. The game has a really cool setting from the village, the castle, to the island. The music in the game is really good as well. Resident Evil 4 has really good music that's very memorable and very scary. The inventory system is really amazing. It's like this big suitcase you have where you can kind of play Tetris with all your items and you can upgrade it further. You have a cool dynamic of the gameplay where you have all the guns you can use. They all feel different from each other. They all have different sounds from each other. They're all satisfying to use. You have the merchant, who's a really cool iconic character that you buy and trade and sell weapons from. Well, you can't sell weapons weapons. But yeah, you can. You buy, trade, and sell from them pretty much. You always run into them once in a while, and that's how you handle the progression of the game, where you upgrade your weapons with gold that you get from enemies. When you kill enemies, you get either gold or ammo or stuff like that. You heal yourself with herbs and first aid sprays. This game actually had unlockables as well, not fucking bullshit DLC. If this game came out nowadays, it'd have DLC, and this game had some damn unlockables. You could unlock cool outfits, like you could unlock the Mafia outfit Leon had, the RPD outfit Leon had. You could unlock the one outfit Ashley had. If you get 5-star rank in all the, stages, all the characters in Mercenaries mode, you get the hand cannon gun for the campaign, which is really cool. You got Separate Ways. You got Assignment Ada. Separate Ways was Ada's backstory. You got cool unlockables like the freaking Chicago typewriter that's infinite. You got the laser gun you unlock from beating the game on professional. It's just Resident Evil 4 is an amazing game. This is one hell of a game that has such an impact on the genre, impact on gaming itself, and definitely one of my favorites. And it blew me away back in the day because it's just one hell of a video game. And I absolutely love Resident Evil 4. It has a good story. It has a good setting. It has really good music, really good gameplay, really fun guns to use, a really good inventory system, really interesting areas, cool dynamic gameplay of upgrading your guns and visiting the merchant to buy stuff. All the enemies you face, the enemy variety, the design of the enemies were cool. The music itself was awesome. The isolated feel you have was great. I liked it. Leon was a great character, a cool main character to play as, all the other cool characters. And it's just an amazing video game, and I love it. It's so much fun to play. It has so much going for it. I love the music and the atmosphere in this game and so much more. It's a damn good game. Absolutely love Resident Evil 4.
Number 2, I got 2 games that I want to put in there, but I don't think I can because I don't think they qualify like that. But number 2 would probably have to honestly be Def Jam Fight for New York. Because honestly, Def Jam Fight for New York, I had so much fun playing that game, man. I used to beat up on my little brother at the time, you feel me? On the game, get Red Man, Method Man, you had Suspect. I don't even know who the fuck Suspect is, but he could play shit. You had Crow and Snoop Dogg, man. It had so many hip-hop dudes on there that you be like, damn, that roster was sick. Icon, I didn't like Icon. A lot of people didn't. But that's a different story. So Def Jam Fight for New York definitely it still has a special place in my heart as a gamer.
Number 1 favorite video game of all time is going to be Fallout 3. Now, originally when I made this list, I didn't know if I wanted Resident Evil 4 at number 1 or Fallout 3 because I like both of these games neck and neck. But I think Fallout 3 wins for me, and this is easily my favorite video game of all time, and I love Fallout 3 the most, and it's definitely my number 1 favorite video game of all time. I love Fallout 3. I didn't know what to think of this game back in the day because this was my first experience with like these kind of RPG games, and I never played any Fallout games before. This was my first Fallout game, and I remember getting this game in the late 2000s. And I didn't know what to think of it or how to feel about it when I first played it. But once I got into Fallout 3, I was hooked and obsessed and addicted to this game and played it so much and played so much of it. And I was so addicted to it and I was so hooked to it. I think on top of this being a really good game and a memorable game and me playing it so much and being so obsessed with it and so addicted to it and how many years I played it and all that stuff is what makes it my favorite game of all time because I just think it's an amazing game. It's a really good single player game with a really good story. I like the setting of the Capital Wasteland. I like the ruins of DC, seeing certain iconic areas that are broken down, like the Washington Monument, the Museum of History. You get to see the Lincoln statue. They even touch on things like slavery in here. You have really cool enemies like super mutants and the feral ghouls and giant rad roaches and giant rad scorpions, and Yogwai bears you can fight. And the experience with this game was so good. I mean, I love this game so much and I was so addicted to it. I do feel bad for this, but a while ago, one of my friends, I'm still good friends with him. There was this one friend I had that around the time, we would hang out and stuff, but I was so into Fallout 3 that instead of hanging out with him for the rest of the day, I went home and played this instead. That's how much I was obsessed and addicted with this game because I'd rather play this and hang out with him. It was terrible that I did that, and I do apologize for that. It wasn't right to do that, but that's just an example of how much I was obsessed with this game. I was absolutely hooked on this game back in the day and just played it non-fucking-stop because it was such a good game, such a good single-player RPG, and such a great experience. It had a really good setting, really cool areas to explore. It had really fun gameplay, a mix between between first person and third person gameplay, your Pip-Boy as you're hunting all the items you had, leveling your character up, a really good single player RPG, all the guns and melee weapons and armor you could collect, leveling your character up into what playstyle you wanted. You could be a good guy or a bad guy, or you could be neutral. You had cool companions like Jericho and Charon and Fox and people like that, and Dog Meat. You had really cool companions. I liked them a lot. This is my favorite Fallout game in the series as well. I like Fallout New Vegas, but I think Fallout 3 has a much better setting than that game. I was really disappointed with Fallout 4. Fallout New Vegas does have more choices in this, but this still has a decent amount of choices. I just think New Vegas' setting is not as good as this game's setting. I thought this game had a vastly better setting than New Vegas, and New Vegas just felt more of the same. And I do think Fallout New Vegas is a little bit overrated. It's a good game. It's better than Fallout 4. I don't love that game as much as other people do. I like it, but I much prefer this one, you know? And I was just so into this game back in the day and absolutely loved it. And I was just so into Fallout 3, and I loved this game to death. I was so hooked on it, so obsessed with it, such addicted to it, because it was such a great game. All the cool guns you can use, like the hunting rifle, the submachine gun, the combat shotgun, cool melee weapons like the sledgehammer and the super sledge, a bunch of interesting areas to explore, some of the lore you could read through notes or computers. You had a good horror tone at times, a certain music that would play, certain subway tunnels you would go to, super mutants you would fight, so many great story missions, memorable side missions, such a fun game to revisit over and over again due to the experience of the, story, the setting, the gameplay, the characters, and it's definitely my favorite video game of all time. I love Fallout 3. It is such an amazing fucking video game.
But before I get to number one, honorable mention of Fight Night Champions. Fight Night Champions 4, to The Sims, The Urban Sims, NBA 2K14, NBA 2K12, Def Jam Vendetta, Tony Hawk Underground 1 and Tony Hawk Underground 2. And Tony Hawk, he had a lot of games that I really enjoyed that I didn't put in this video. But if we do a top 20, I will. But number one is NBA 2K11. If any of y'all, honorable mention to NBA 2K10 too, but if y'all remember, NBA 2K11 was the first time that my generation of players, we could finally play with the god Michael Jordan. You feel me? The god-like basketball player Michael Jordan, man. And I remember the cover, man. I remember the intro, man. Actually, hold up. Okay, now I'm back, y'all. Now this game right here, this game is the greatest game I've ever played in my life. I had so much fun with it as a kid. You had the Jordan Challenge, the My Career mode. You had, you had to create a legend with Michael Jordan. That was the first time they featured that on the game, and they stopped it at the 2K13 or 2K12, one of them. I didn't play 2K13. That shit was trash. But 2K11 is the greatest game they ever released. Man, this is probably the best model of Michael Jordan they had too. They had the shoes, man. So I was just so in awe of everything about the game. I would get frustrated playing people because at the time I was still learning how to play team basketball instead of just ISOing every fucking time. You feel me? But eventually I got the hang of it, and I started whooping everybody's ass in this game. Man, let me just say this, man. Please, if you can cop this game, bro. Play it, bro. And I know this shit is old as fuck, but y'all gotta play this shit. This is legendary, bro. And obviously, I don't know where the case is because I played this game so damn much that it's broke now. I can't play it no more. But anyway, man, shout out to JackalGoldKick, man. Thank you for allowing me to be on your platform. I appreciate it, man. I know this video took a long ass time to come out, but we finally got it here today, man. Do both of us a favor. Get a video a like, hit the subscribe button if you're new. Thank you for watching. It's your boy Kadeem theking, and I'm out of here with a W.
And then for the honorable mentions, it was Dead Rising 2, Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate, The Warriors, Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie, Tekken 5, Resident Evil Revelations 2, Samurai Warriors 1, and Def Jam Vendetta. So that was it for me and Kadeem theking's top 10 favorite video games of all time. Let us know what your top 10 favorite video games of all time are. And that's all we have to say. Peace.